to reading on your plot passport. If you have not reached the plot passport, then turn this video off and go to a different center because you should not be here yet. Again, you should be on the plot passport or the blue passport working on plot if you are listening to this video and following along with the story. So if you're in the correct place, welcome. When we left off, Greg was talking about putting on some muscle. He was talking about this in gym class. So let's pick up where we left off. Remember, at the end of this, you're going to have an assignment that needs to be in your journal labeled Part 9. If it's not labeled Part 9, then during conference we may get confused. If I pack on some muscle now, it'll be a whole different story next April. Tonight, after dinner, I got Mom and Dad together and told them my plan. I told them I was going to need some serious exercise equipment and some weight gain powder too. I showed them some muscle magazines I got at the store so they could see how ripped I was going to be. Mom didn't really say anything at first, but Dad was pretty enthusiastic. I think he was just glad I had a change of heart from how I used to be when I was a kid. And here he is as a kid. And his dad saying, if you work out regularly, you can get big muscles. And here's Greg saying, muscles are gross. Mom said if I wanted a weight set, I was going to have to prove that I would stick with an exercise regimen. She said I could do that by doing sit-ups and jumping jacks for 2 weeks. I had to explain that the only way to get totally buckled up is to get the kind of high-tech machines they have at the gym, but Mom didn't want to hear it. Then Dad said if I wanted a bench press, I should keep my fingers crossed for Christmas. But Christmas is a month and a half away, and if I get pinned by Fregley one more time, I'm going to have a nervous breakdown. Now let's think back to what was happening in Part 8. They had started wrestling in gym class, and Greg thought it was going to be the kind of fake wrestling that he saw on TV, but it wasn't. And then he got matched up with Fregley because Fregley was the only other person in his weight class. And Fregley kept winning and Greg kept losing, so he was embarrassed. So it looks like Mom and Dad aren't going to be any help, and that means I'm going to have to take matters into my own hands, as usual. Saturday. I couldn't wait to start my weight training program today. Even though Mom wouldn't let me get the equipment I needed, I wasn't going to let that hold me back. So I went into the fridge and emptied out the milk and orange juice and filled the jugs with sand. Then I taped them to the broomstick and I had myself a pretty decent barbell. So here is his homemade barbell, and you can see he's got a gallon of milk and a gallon of orange juice on an old broomstick that he's lifting. And he's taped them together. After that, I made a bench press out of an ironing board and some boxes. Once I had that all set, I was ready to do some serious lifting. I needed a spotting partner, so I called Raleigh. And when he showed up at my door wearing some ridiculous getup, I knew I made a mistake inviting him. And you see Greg's here dressed normally, and Raleigh shows up. He's got his sweatband, a little towel. He's got spandex and leg warmers and gloves on. I made Raleigh use the bench press first, mostly because I wanted to see if the broomstick was going to hold up. He did about 5 reps, and he was ready to quit, but I wouldn't let him. That's what a good training partner is for, to push you beyond your limits. And here he is saying, 15 more, come on! I knew Raleigh wasn't going to be as serious about weightlifting as I was. So I decided to try out an experiment to test his dedication. In the middle of Raleigh's set, I went and got this phony nose and mustache Roderick has in his junk drawer. And right when Raleigh had the barbell in the down position, I leaned over and looked at him. And here's Raleigh. He looks like he's in some pain. He's down, and now Greg's looking at him with this silly mask on. Sure enough, Raleigh totally lost his concentration. He couldn't even get the barbell off his chest. I thought about helping him out, but then I realized that if Raleigh didn't get serious about working out, he was never going to get to my level. Now, what's silly about what Greg just said? Stop and think about that for a second. Look at the picture, and he says, if Raleigh doesn't get serious about working out, he was never going to get on my level. Look at the picture and try and figure out what's so funny about that. Now, you may have noticed that Greg is sitting reading a magazine while Raleigh works out. And Raleigh's in workout clothes, and Greg is not. So, who's actually serious? I eventually had to rescue him because he started biting the milk jug to let the sand leak out. After Raleigh got off the bench press, it was time for my set. But Raleigh said he didn't feel like working out anymore, and he went home. You know, I figured he'd pull something like that, but I guess you can't expect everyone to have the same kind of dedication as you. Wednesday. Today in geography. Now, scholars, geography. Let's talk about that word. Geography is a part of social studies, and I know a lot of you haven't studied geography very much yet. So geography is a part of social studies where you study where places are and what kind of landscapes and natural resources they have. So it's kind of like studying maps. So here we go again. Today in geography, which is a social studies class, we had a quiz. And I have to say, I've been looking forward to this one for a long time. The quiz was on state capitals, and I sit in the back of the room right next to this giant map of the United States. All the capitals are written in big red print, so I knew I had this one in the bag. Stop and make a prediction. What do you think is going to happen here? Is there a teacher that's really going to make it this easy on Greg? Let him just copy the capitals off the map and give him an A for the quiz? I don't think so. But right before the test got started, Patty Farrell piped up from the front row of the room. Teacher, teacher! You can see her trying to get the teacher's attention. Patty told Mr. Ira that he should cover up the United States map before we got started. And he's saying, nice catch, Patty. So thanks to Patty, I ended up flunking the quiz, and I will definitely be looking for a way to pay her back for that one. Thursday. Tonight, Mom came up to my room, and she had a flyer in her hand. As soon as I saw it, I knew exactly what it was. It was an announcement that the school is having tryouts for a winter play. Man, I should have thrown that thing out when I saw it on the kitchen table. I begged her not to make me sign up. Those school plays are always musicals, and the last thing I need is to have to sing a solo in front of the whole school. But all my begging seemed to do was make Mom more sure I should do it. Mom said the only way I was going to be well-rounded was by trying different things. Dad came in my room to see what was going on. I told Dad that Mom was making me sign up for the school play and that if I had to start going to play practices, it would totally mess up my weightlifting schedule. I knew that would make Dad take my side. Dad and Mom argued for a few minutes, but Dad was no match for Mom. So that means tomorrow I've got to audition for the school play. And that's where we're going to stop for today. So a lot of things happened today. There was the weightlifting in Greg's garage with Raleigh, the quiz, where Patty pointed out to the teacher that the state capitals were in the classroom, so Greg ended up failing the quiz, and Greg's mom and dad arguing over whether or not he had to sign up for the play at school, and Greg didn't really want to. So in your journal, you need to write a summary of what happened in Diary of a Wimpy Kid today. Your summary should mention all 3 things that I just talked about, and it should be labeled Part 9, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Listen to Reading. If it's not labeled, it's going to be harder to find during your conference, which is going to slow you down. So remember to label your passport. I hope you enjoyed the story today, and take some time to finish up that assignment in your journal. And we'll see you on the rug.